This is the BBC in the 11 meter band, one of only two signals I think that you can catch in the 11 meter band. The other one being World Music Radio from Denmark, but that's such a weak transmitter, I've never caught that. This is 25,900 kHz. It's interesting, it's quite strong and then fades away almost completely, and then comes back strongly and then fades away again. So I also compare it to three other frequencies.
World Service, the world's radio station.
Welcome to OS with James Reynolds, live from the floor of BBC's newsroom in central London. Israel's military says it's now operating in the heart of the Jabalia refugee neighbourhood of Gaza City, and also in the heart of Khan Yunis, the Palestinian city in the south of the territory. The Israel Defense Force describes this as the most intense day since the beginning of the ground operation in late October. The force says it aims to dismantle Hamas, that runs Gaza, that carried out October attacks. And Israel has one small southern coastal area of Gaza also for Palestinians. But some who have fled there have told my colleague Eta Shalabi that conditions are inhumane. Many are having to sleep in tents, having left their homes elsewhere in Gaza. He warns that there are simply no safe zones anywhere in the territory.
Hello, I'm Laura Alderson with the BBC News. The Israeli military says it's engaged in the heaviest day of fighting since the start of its invasion of Gaza. In the north, troops have surrounded the Jabalia refugee camp, which they say is a Hamas base. In the south, Israeli forces have entered Khan Yunis, where the hospital is post. Our correspondent Hugo Beshega, the humanitarian situation there is desperate.
We've heard from a number of different people, including from the UN, saying that the shelters that have been by the Israeli military as safe places don't have the capacity to cope with another wave of displaced people. So widespread shortages of basic supplies, and again, the pictures emerging from the hospitals in Khan Yunis situation with doctors to treat casualties following the latest Israeli military. In these recent attacks by the Israeli army.
The Lebanese army says one of its soldiers has been killed and 3 wounded in an Israeli strike. It said Israeli shelling hit a military site in southern Lebanon. There have been only sailors and personnel. The Lebanese army has not been involved in the case. The European Commissioner for Home Affairs has warned there's a huge risk of terrorist attacks in the EU in the coming season. Ulrich Johansson's remarks came days after a terrorist was fatally stabbed in Paris. She spoke of polarization caused by the Gaza war and
announced that we will have additional 30 million euros for protection of, for example, places of worship in this situation.
The customs agency in Finland says it's seeking the prosecution of 2 Finnish companies suspected of evading European Union sanctions on Russia. One of 6 suspects is in detention. Here's Danny Eberhard.
Finnish Customs believes the 2 companies, run by the same person, facilitated the export to Russia of nearly 3,500 drones, equipment to stop drones, microcontrollers and microchips. Investigators suspect the alleged scheme was masterminded by Russia using a frontman. The sanctioned items were shipped, the agency said, through third countries, some via Kazakhstan. The West is trying to prevent sensitive dual-use items from reaching Russia for use in its war against Ukraine.
Britain and Rwanda have agreed a new treaty aimed at making London's centre-piece asylum policy operational following legal challenges. The policy, first announced last year, would see some migrants deported to Rwanda to seek asylum there. The new agreement includes provisions to ensure Rwanda does not expel people sent there from Britain. BBC News. Rescue workers in Indonesia say they found the bodies of another 9 hikers caught up in a volcanic eruption in Sumatra. 22 people are now known to have been killed on Mount Merapi. Video filmed by hikers who survived the eruption has spread widely on Indonesian social media, showing climbers filming themselves pleading for help before rescuers arrived. Jonathan Head reports.
Rescue teams had resumed their search this morning for 10 missing people on the ash-covered slopes of Mount Marapi after halting for a day because of continued volcanic activity. They discovered 9 more bodies near the summit, leaving just 1 person still missing. Indonesian volcanologists say they've been advising climbers not to go within 3 kilometers of the crater, but that warning has been in place for at least 12 years, and there have been no indications suggesting an eruption was imminent.
Prince Harry's lawyers have begun legal action against Britain's Home Office over its decision to remove his royal security arrangements in the UK. The Home Office said Prince Harry was no longer entitled to the same measures as he now lives abroad and is no longer a working royal. His legal team told a London court that his protection should have remained unchanged given his status as the son of King Charles. A hospital in eastern Sri Lanka is facing a crisis after its only surgeon left the country. All operations at the Pahayapakandia hospital have been halted, reportedly about 50 so far. Sri Lanka's economic crisis has forced many health professionals to seek better opportunities abroad. The lower house of the French Parliament has passed a law to give farmers more protection from complaints over farming noise and smells. The Justice Minister described it as a common-sense proposal to end abusive lawsuits against people simply doing their jobs. France has seen a number of legal disputes between farmers.
James with you from the BBC World Service, live from our newsroom here in central London. We begin in Israel and Gaza. Israel says its troops are now in the heart of the southern city of Khan Yunis. The idea, the Israel Defense Forces say that this is the most intense day of fighting since the ground